Move on. Can you guys hear okay on YouTube? Is the sound good on YouTube? Is the sound good? Can you guys hear now? Let me see. Is it a little bit better on YouTube now? You should be able to hear a little bit better on YouTube. So yeah, so you should be able to hear better. Turn the sound up on both. So the volume should be okay. So let's move on. So, all right, so we moved it up, so it should be okay. So let's move on. So we're going to talk about AI and Wall Street, right? And then we're going to, that's the first thing we're going to talk about, right? So let me go ahead and get that queued up here. My notes ready. So if you haven't noticed that there's been a boom in Wall Street, right? That means the stock market, and it's up a lot this year. And the thing about it is that back in January, when I predicted that AI would boost the stock market, I predicted specific stocks, AMD, we predicted NVIDIA. A lot of people made a ridiculous amount of money, especially in the CNC. If you want to join the CNC, text the word CNC to 89603, right? I'm going to delete this dude, block. So like I said, is that we've made a lot of money over the last 6 months by riding this AI wave, right? So we got to talk a little bit about how long is it going to last, what's coming in the future, how long can AI push the market up, and a lot of other great things, right? So let's move on. So if we think, we're going to talk about Twilio too. We're going to talk about Twilio also, right? So let's move on. So like I said, is that Wall Street, we've been up 46% in the last 18 months, mainly because of this AI boom, mainly a lot because of NVIDIA. Back in January, when I said a lot of things. I said that, I said that NVIDIA was going to go up. A lot of people said I was wrong. A lot of people said they didn't understand. A lot of people said they didn't get what was going on. They didn't really believe that NVIDIA was going to do this. A lot of big analysts was actually against me. A lot of big analysts were against me, right? And then what happened is NVIDIA actually did a lot of great things, made a lot of people money, went up, 200% since then? So this is the reason why we have to understand technology. We have to understand trends, because sometime in the technical charts, chart reading and all that stuff, you're not going to see the truth of the matter, right? Because a lot of things have to do with global economics, has to do with trends, has to do with consumer trends. It has to do a lot of things, adoption cycles, and there's a lot of times we make our money based on these particular things and not necessarily on chart reading. Chart reading is part of the picture. You need to understand how to read charts also, because charts give us a picture of what's happened in the past, so that we're able to get in and get out of stocks easily, quickly, right? At the right amount, or, close to the right amount, right? So like I said, is that a lot of people are saying, Armando, I want to get into AI, but I don't know which stocks. Now I know in NVIDIA, we're already kind of too late on that, because my long-term goal on NVIDIA is about $1,000. We're already halfway there now. So even if you put money in NVIDIA, your risk is a lot higher than it was back in January. But also is that the upper bound of that is only like 1,000. So the most you can make is 100%, which is not nothing to laugh at. It's a lot. But on the other hand, is that your risk is a lot higher than it was back in January. So back in January, your upside was like 8-9 times. Your risk was a lot lower. You see what I'm saying? So people say, hey, I want to get into AI, but I want to reduce my risk, but I also want to make money on the upside. Well, there's a few things you could do right now. We talked about AMD. We talked about Intel. We talked about Micron. Those are 3 stocks out there that still have a lot more movement to go due to this AI boom. But there's another thing you can do, right? And it's not financial advice, just telling you what's out there, right? There's a lot of AI there's a lot of AI ETFs, a lot of AI index funds and things like that. That could be something. The ARK Investment Fund is Kathy Wood's fund. There's a lot of things that you can get into that will control the risk on your downside, but also let you take advantage of the upside of AI. And that's what I would really suggest to somebody. And I'm not telling you guys what to do, but I would suggest it to somebody who wanted to invest in AI but didn't really want the risk. Because right now, there's more risk with NVIDIA than it was back in January. So let's move on. So some people say, like, what are ETFs? Well, I'm going to explain what ETFs are. Then we're going to talk about the Bitcoin ETF that's coming up. Bitcoin's moved to 50,000 by early next year, middle of next year, we're going to talk about electric vehicles, because there's one stock out there that's an electric vehicle stock that's up like 40% over the last 3-4 days. And it's going to continue to go up for the next couple of weeks. We're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about Meta Threads, talk about chip wars, and one stock that's doing extremely well in China that's based on this chip wars concept. Before we start, if you're on YouTube, I need you guys to like the content. We got 600 people on YouTube watching. We only got 100 likes. So we need to get that like count out. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. On Instagram, we need, if you're not in the CNC is our trading group that we have, but it's not only trading. We do events. We give free tickets to different other events. You know, we have a community. We give free classes. If you want to join the CNC or learn more about it, text the word CNC to 89603, or you can DM me the word CNC. I'll send you a link right after the live is over. It also goes to people on YouTube. But you can also go to jointhecnc.com. If you're in the CNC, you've been making a lot of money over the last few weeks, I need you to drop those money bags in both the chat on Instagram and also the chat on YouTube. So like I said, we got a lot of people actually made a lot of money last week. So let's move on. So we're going to talk about ETFs, what they are, right? So what an ETF is, right, is that it's called an exchange traded fund. And what that is that it gives people an opportunity to invest in something indirectly, right? But it also reduces your risk. And for the Bitcoin ETF, that's what it's going to do. It's going to invest in Bitcoin. It's going to try to track the Bitcoin sector by investing in Bitcoin, also investing in Bitcoin producing and related companies, and to try to track that fund, right? So, not the fund, but track that group of investments, right? So that's exactly what it is. Like, if you remember, I want to say, if you ever been to one of those restaurants, and this is actually one of my favorite restaurants, called tapas. Right? It's based on a Spanish tradition of buying a bunch of little dishes so everybody can try a little bit of everything, right? Who's ever been to a tapas restaurant, right? So this is kind of what an ETF is that, let's say they got 4 people around the table. We all got $20, right? So I want to get the fish. You want to get the chicken. He wants to get the shrimp, and this other guy wants to get the steak. But we say, hey, man, we want to try each other's plates, though, because, you know, I kind of want a little bit of chicken, too. I know I'm going to get the steak, but I want a little bit of chicken. Well, there's no way to do that, right? Because you only got $20. You cannot buy all 4. It'd be $80 for each one of us. So we say, hey, man, why don't we just get tapas, or we just get each other's food and we share it for the table? So we'll get the chicken, we'll get the steak, we'll get the beef, and we'll also get the fish, but we'll put it in the middle of the table so everybody can try a little bit. So that's exactly what an ETF is that I may not have the money or the will or even the risk tolerance to buy every single AI stock out there. I don't have thousands of dollars to buy NVIDIA, AMD, all this stuff, but I want to participate in all, just like that food on the table, in all the stocks. The only way for me to do that is for me to invest in an ETF. That's what that table is at the restaurant, right? Is that we can all put our money together and we can all take part in a little bit of stock. We have a little bit of NVIDIA on the table. We can have a little bit of AMD. We can have a little bit of a Tesla and all the AI stocks. So when they all go up, we participate in all the profits. That's exactly what an ETF is. It's like a table where we put all our food there and we share it. So the $80 combined by all of us is now, it contributed to a diversified fund in a certain sector where we can all benefit from the goodness of the food or the stocks. That's exactly what it is. Family style. That's good. So ETFs is family style investing. It's exactly what it is, right? So it's an easy way to understand it. It's not hard, right? So that's what it's a very easy way. But ETFs, the Bitcoin ETF is trying to do that, right? It's trying to create a exchange traded fund that lets us, instead of us trying to pick which Bitcoin, which company, whatever, we know the concept of Bitcoin is going to go up, but we don't know which ones to buy. So you invest in an ETF and now you get the benefits of investing in all of it. And that's exactly what an ETF is. So if you, and most of the time in 401k, stuff like that, it's usually ETFs or mutual funds that you invest in, because it's a safer, lower risk way to invest in certain sectors, in certain indexes, index funds and stuff like that. So let's move on. So the biggest thing on the horizon in the crypto market right now, the Bitcoin ETF is not out yet, but it's on the SEC's desk and the SEC has to approve it. So there's a good chance that sometime by the end of this year, a Bitcoin ETF will be approved, right? The SEC has rejected, I think, 5 or 10 of them already, but over time, they're going to eventually have to accept one. And when that happens, there's two things that's going to happen, right? It will increase interest in Bitcoin temporarily. So a big cash influx will come into Bitcoin, but over the long time, it's going to decrease volatility, which is good, actually, right? And people always say it's bad for people trying to make a lot of money in Bitcoin, but it's good for people who are not very risk tolerant people. And I'm going to tell you this right now. The thing about investments is that the average run-of-the-mill people, not the people that's on this live, on Instagram, on YouTube, not those people. You guys are hustlers. You guys are trying to make money. You're trying to build wealth. The average run-of-the-mill American don't even look at investments at all. I want you to go to your workplace, start talking about this stuff that we talk about. They don't gonna know what you're talking about. Talk about ChatGPT. 90% of people still don't know what it is. You could be at a software job and they don't even know. Go to your job and just say, hey, man, did you see NVIDIA go up over the last 3 weeks? Most people don't even know what you're talking about. Most people's idea of investing is just investing into their 401k and let them handle it. Right? That's 80% of people's idea of investing. All right, well, you ask them, do you invest? Well, I got my 401k. That's the number one answer you're going to get back. Do you invest, man? No, I got my 401k. That's most people. So, but people here, you guys are a little bit different, right? But the average run-of-the-mill American don't like volatility. Either way, the stock goes up a lot, stock goes down a lot. They don't want that. They want a consistent low yield every year, 4, 5, 6% every year. They don't want a lot of decreases. Maybe 3% down, 8% up, 4% down, 11% up. Most people, that's all they can handle. That's most people. They can handle that downward, even upward volatility. The average person, if they woke up tomorrow morning, their 401k was up 40%, you would think that they'd be happy. But the average person would not be happy, because 40% gain overnight, you know what that does? It forces a decision. And most people are very uncomfortable with that decision. Very uncomfortable. They don't want all that gain that fast. Now they got to decide, am I going to sell? Am I going to move? Am I going to take the money out? That's a decision that people don't want. Now, if something is consistently going up a little bit, they don't have to make no decisions. That's what most people want. So the Bitcoin ETF and volatility dropping in the crypto market will actually make more people come into the market long term. That's why I believe that this last Bitcoin run of 2024, when the Bitcoin halving happens in April of 24, 6 months after, we're going to see a boom in Bitcoin. By the middle of 25, it's going to reach its peak through 300,000 at Bitcoin, and every other coin will be relative to that. That's going to be the last big Bitcoin boom we ever have in our lifetime. And what I mean by that is 10, 20, 40, 50 times your money, 100 times your money on some coins. That will be over, because two things are going to happen, right? Is that one, the government's going to regulate the hell out of crypto within the next 2 years. So all these meme coins and stuff are going to be gone, right? Or they're going to be regulated so tightly that you won't be able to make so much money. Two is that the average investor will understand Bitcoin's market cycles. When that happens, that's it. Because just like the stock market is forward looking. What that means is that there's an event on the horizon. The price is already built in before that event happens. That's what happens with earnings calls. When an earnings call comes up in the stock market, the stock goes up before that because they already expect what's coming. Now, if there's no surprise and nothing like that, the stock doesn't react that much. So now that people will understand the Bitcoin halving, those instant gains 6 months later, deflate, all that stuff won't happen no more. It will be built into the already. When the Bitcoin halving's happening in 2 years, the price will already be built in. So you won't get these gains anymore. Those gains will be over. And that's the reason why this is your last chance. The next 3 or 4 years is going to be fundamental to a lot of people's entire life building wealth. You got to get serious about this now. The stock market's going to boom next year. The Bitcoin markets, you're going to be in a whirlwind of wealth building in the next 2 years. And if you don't take advantage of that, you will regret it the rest of your life. So let's move on. And like I said, by Bitcoin halving, people say Bitcoin halving is April of next year, March of next year, depending on who the block, the normal blocks we are bought in. But I think Bitcoin by early next year, by the halving of next year, it'll be at like 50,000 if somebody asked. So let's move on to electric vehicles. Before we do, if you're interested, like I said, is that next week we raised the price of the CNC. Right now it's $76. Next week it'll be $89. So if you get in now, you get the price locked in at $76. So DM me the word CNC. I give you the link. You can take a look at it, see what it's all about, and you can join. If you've been making money in CNC, I encourage you to drop those money bags while we move on to the next category. Also on YouTube and Instagram, drop those money bags. Secondly, we always do a challenge. If you get into CNC, and I've given, I think, 4 people their money back over the last year. It hasn't been that many. But if you get into CNC and you say, hey, man, it's not for me. Let's say you're in there for 3 months, you pay three months. And you say, look, man, I don't think it's for me. I'll refund you all the money that you paid. No questions asked. You get it back, move on about your day. Now, that's the challenge I give you. If you don't make your money back, or if you don't make 3 times the money that you spent on the CNC within 3 months, I'll refund you all your money. You can keep the classes. That's how serious, and that's how sure I am that the CNC will be greatly beneficial to you. So, for some reason I can't move this down. Oh, there we go. All right, so something's off here. Let me try to refresh this. That's so weird. So let's move on with Meta and Threads, right? So if you haven't realized it, over the last week, Meta introduced Threads. Threads was one of the biggest social media app launches in history. 100 million people signed up in the first 5-6 days. And they're planning, they think they're going to reach a billion within the next 2 months, which is the fastest rate that any social media app in the history of our planet has reached those numbers, right? So what does this mean for Meta? Meta's already doing well. Meta's already integrated or moving their company into 2 things, right? AI and also metaverse, virtual reality. Remember, Meta is working on chips right now to replace NVIDIA chips in a lot of their devices and technology, which I think is going to be huge for them. 2 is that they haven't given up the metaverse, right? They have not given up that metaverse concept. I know the media tells you that it was a bust, it was a joke, it was a lie. The media never knows what's happening actually with technology. They always make ridiculous mistakes. Go back and look at what the media said about the internet in the early 2000s. They said the internet was over. It was a fad. It would never, people are trashing their computers. The internet was a failure. There's hundreds of articles saying the internet was a failure in the early 2000s. There's thousands of articles in the 80s saying that cellular phones are not even useful. There's hundreds of articles saying that some MySpace stuff was a joke and social media was a fad. The media rarely knows. There's two things that be happening. The media is not equipped to understand these trends. And two, which I think is probably more likely, is that the rich, the elite, and the banks are intentionally misleading you. Because whenever a fundamentally new technology comes out, it changes everything. Corporations are like cruise ships. They can't turn like a little small ship can, or a little small boat, or a kayak, or something like that. It takes them a long time to turn, right? To readjust and reorient themselves to this new technology so that they can dominate it, right? So they have to get you off the track. So they use this stuff, throw it at you, so you'll get off the track and forget, like Bitcoin right now. They said Bitcoin was done. It was over. It's never coming back when it was at 15,000. It's already at 32 right now. And it's on its way back to 50, on its way to 300,000 in 2024. A lot of people are going to be shocked when they see those headlines of Bitcoin at 300,000. I thought it was over. I thought it was a scam. No, you've been had, took, and bamboozled. They tricked you to make you sell everything you had so that they can benefit from the technology that you threw away. And then they'll tell you, yeah, man, it's a good idea now because they have it. Fidelity, JP Morgan, all these banks are not buying up Bitcoin, not creating infrastructure, and not producing some of the best Bitcoin products and crypto products for no reason. They're doing this to control and manipulate and dominate the sector. And they need time to do that. So they get you off the trail, tell you it's a scam, tell you it's a trick, put your favorite celebrity, your CEO in your face telling you it's a trick. And then you get off the trail. And you forget about it for a year and they buy it all up. And that's the reason why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, because we let them trick us with their media. So back to what I'm saying is threads. My original point was metaverse is not dead. The metaverse is not dead, and Meta knows that. We know about the information flow. We know the information flows from the top to the bottom, the rich to the poor. The rich CEOs, the banks, the elite, and the wealthy have a higher level of access to information than we have. Mark Zuckerberg knows what he's doing. He has the information that we don't have, right? That's why it's important to be around the right people, go to the right conferences, get in the right groups, get around the right network, because the information will flow to you faster. And then you'll make a lot more money. But like I said, as Mark Zuckerberg knows what he's doing, Meta will eventually, he changed the whole company's name. He's not giving that up. It's Meta, right? He's not going to just go, oh, I failed and he's not giving that up. He's going to eventually, Meta will be the metaverse. It may take 5-10 years, but Facebook will be at the top, along with Threads, along with the stuff they're doing. Where's Facebook at today? I didn't even look it up. I was in Puerto Rico last week, so I've been kind of disconnected. So the Meta stock right now is at 290. I can see it being, now maybe a split before that, but if there's no split, I can see it being at 1,000 in 2 years, easily, right? Easily, because they have too many technologies that they're working on. They're now, I like Mark Zuckerberg. I didn't like him before. He's being an innovator now. A lot of the stuff he did up to now was just theft, outright copy. But now he's trying to innovate, which I like. So last thing I want to talk about tonight, we didn't talk about electric vehicles. Sorry. Oh yeah, we did, but not really. We didn't talk about that. So let's talk a little bit about these electric vehicles, right? My system messed up on YouTube. I'm sorry. So it's going to be a little bit off, and two things are going to be selected. So it's probably some code I messed up. Which one did it fail on? Let me see if I can fix it fast. I probably can't. Yeah, I can't fix it right now. So like I said, is that now we're talking about electric vehicles, right? Before we do that, if you need to join that CNC, you DM the word CNC to me, or you can text the word CNC to 89603. You get a link, and you can take a look at what we do in the CNC. If you're on YouTube, I need you guys to like the content, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. We got 600 viewers on YouTube, but yet only 250 likes. We should at least have as many likes as viewers. Somebody out there is not doing your job. You're not liking the content. How many likes we got? 257, 266. Also share the live with 10 of your friends. And we talk about building networks. We talk about creating a network, a circle of people. You do that by sending out information, getting people involved in what you're talking about. So I need you guys in the Instagram to share the live with 10 of your friends. Put the word share in the comments. I appreciate you sharing. On a side note, I discovered this dude, Peso Pluma, over the weekend. And I actually do like him a lot. Now, people's like, is that your account got hacked? 'Cause I put that on my account. I do like that dude a lot. So I just making sure I clear that up. So let's move on. Last thing we're going to talk about is, we got two more things. We'll talk about electric vehicles. Then we're going to talk about these chip wars that's going on. So electric vehicles, right? If you you've been watching, Tesla is an electric vehicle company, but it's also an AI company, right? We've been making money on Tesla. I predicted back in, February? What was February or March? That Tesla's earnings would far surpass what the analysts thought was going to happen. I was the only one that predicted that. And I'm telling you, there's nobody out there that thought that. Nobody. And I predicted that. We bought some options. We bought some stocks. We made a ridiculous amount of money when Tesla boomed up from I think it was at like one something, and it went up to like 300. Within like 3 weeks, we made a ridiculous amount of money. If you made money on that Tesla play in the CNC, I need you to drop those money bags in Instagram and also on YouTube. But Tesla is still not done, right? Right now, Tesla stock is 274. It's a little bit down from the highs it was. Let me see what the highest it got there was like 300 and something. So Tesla will eventually, over the next year, 2 years, go to $1,000. There's all the signs point to it. It's almost guaranteed. Like I said, it's not financial advice. It's my own personal thoughts. But because if you notice what's been happening in the news is that Tesla is almost becoming a software or a service company, not a software as a service and a service company. They're doing two things that I like. One is that they're capturing a lot of data that can be used for future AI, self-driving, things like that. And two, they're starting to license their charging technologies to other companies. If you've seen, Ford and other companies have opted to use Tesla's charging station instead of creating their own network. So Tesla will be Tesla's going to end up being, I'm telling you what's going to happen, because there's a reason why in your city, think about it in your city, right? Why don't we have like 8 competing electric companies? Like, why can't I, instead of me getting, what electric company I got here? I forgot. Whatever, let's say Clearwater Electric, whatever. Instead of having Tampa Electric or whatever, why don't I have like Tampa Electric or James Electric, John's Electric, the Wilson Electric Company? Why can't I choose who I want to provide electricity to me? You can't, because the government says you got to go with this person or this company, right? Because if not, we'd have 50 lines of electricity coming to each house. It'd be complicated. It'd be too many electric lines. So the government regulates that industry, say, look, man, you can only go with one. And they make sure we get a okay or fair price. So they can't be charging stations for every single company out there. It's impossible. It's not enough space, not enough materials out there. So it has to be one. So Tesla, I believe, is going to be the only charging company out there. And every single company will have to use their charging stations, which is going to increase Tesla's stock immensely over time. That's why I see it going to 1,000. For two is that they're capturing a lot of AI data, which they're the leaders in that when it comes to self-driving. So they're going to be on the forefront of that also. So they got two ways that they're going to make a lot of money. Well, there's another stock out there, right, that's doing extremely well. It's a very unknown EV or electric vehicle stock out there, right? A lot of people don't know it. They're more common in Europe and other countries as opposed to the United States. Over the last month, for the last 8 days, it's been up 50%. And it's predicted to continue its rise. Right now, it's at about a little bit under $25 a share. Probably going to 50 over the next month. Probably 100 by the end of the year. Amazon just inked a deal to create 100,000 electric vehicles through this company. This is something that a lot of people don't know, right? It's almost insider information, but I don't want to go that far. By 2030, right? So because of these reasons, this company is supposed to at least reach 50 over the next 2-3 months, 100 by the end of the year. And this company's name is called Rivian, right? Rivian, I'm going to start buying some Rivian stock over the next couple of months, couple of days. The stock symbol is RIVN. I encourage you guys to take a look at it. If you miss Tesla, this is just like that play whenever one leader company goes up a lot, there's echoes because the market is trying to catch up. Rivian is an echo to Tesla's rise. Just like when we bought AMD, just like we bought these other plays after Nvidia went up. This rival, Rivian, is Tesla's echo. So we got one last thing we're going to talk about. If you're so right now on YouTube, we got 700 people in here, but now only 346 likes. If you haven't liked the content, if you haven't already subscribed, please do so now. If you're in Instagram or you're in YouTube, you've been making money with the CNC, I need you to drop those money bags one last third time. And also, if you want to join the CNC, which is our trading group, our classes, we give a lot of great things. We get events. You come up to any event I do for free. We had an event in New York 3 weeks ago. We learned a lot. We brought in a lot of great speakers. Anybody that was in the CNC had to come for free food, all this stuff that we did. Also, we got, we do an after party. So all the things that we talk about on Strategy Sunday, we're going to jump on live in the CNC and drill down on price points and technical analysis. So it's a lot of great benefits. It's $76 a month, going to be $89 next week. Get your price locked in right now at $76 a month, and the price will never change. So DM me the word CNC or text the word CNC. And the link's also in my bio, so you can just click the link and buy it if you want to. But text the word CNC to 89603. So Twilio, I've been talking about Twilio. I'm going to go on a tangent here. I've been talking about Twilio for the last couple of weeks. Twilio still is going up. It's just delayed. That's all I'm going to say about it is that I still believe in it. It's just a little bit delayed right now because remember, Twilio is an echo, like we just talked about these echoes, to NVIDIA. So the echo, I can't judge how long it's going to take for that echo to start getting, to get activated, I guess. So it could be a couple of weeks, could be a month. I don't know. But eventually Twilio is going to rise because Twilio is the software side of AI, especially for telecommunications. So it's just going to be a matter of time. Last thing I want to talk about is the chip wars. Right? So chip wars. We're talking about processor chips in computers, both graphic and processing units. In a computer, we got more, like my laptop in front of me, we got two chips. We got a graphic processing unit, we got a processor, right? That's what makes they're the brains of our computers. So AI, which is it's not new. Remember, I'm going to say this too. AI has been out since 1956 because a lot of people come to me, AI, whatever. I was studying AI in college in 2005. I went to grad school in 2011 and 12. I studied AI there. Took several AI classes. In 2007, my first job was at an AI company. AI has been out for 70 years. It's not nothing new. It's just got to the point now that it's on the consumer side to where consumers are now seeing it. We've been seeing this in the tech industry since I've been in tech, since I was a teenager. right? AI has been around. Deep Blue beat the first, Deep Blue, an IBM supercomputer AI system, beat the first chess grandmaster in the mid 90s. And that was one of the earlier examples of AI. So it's been out for a while. It's not, it's not like we disregard that now, but at the time it was huge, right? So AI has been out for a long time, but now it's getting to the consumer side where people are using it in their everyday life. So people think it's new. It's not new. It's just been around. It just got to the point where it's kind of like functional in our daily lives. So because now it's on the consumer side, there's a lot more people on the consumer side as opposed to the research and the corporate side. So now there's a demand for chips. And that's why NVIDIA went way up. That's why the price went way up, because we need so many chips. AI need massively what's called parallel systems. A lot of them do, which means I got one chip in my computer, maybe a quad core with 4 chips on one, or maybe or whatever. But remember, with an AI system, we may need thousands of chips. We may need hundreds of thousands of chips if you run it in a server farm or something. So because of this, there's a shortage on chips. And that's what's causing these chip manufacturers' price to go up. They can almost charge whatever they want, right, temporarily. So there's a stock out there that's benefited greatly from these chip wars. It's within China, right? We know all these other ones went up. We know we talked about NVIDIA, Intel, every single one went up, but there's another one out there that's going to go up. And this is a rare one. Nobody knows about this one. I'm not going to go all in on this one because it's in China. And I'll tell you this is that China has a history of manipulating their stocks. There's actually documentaries about it, that stock prices would go up. People would have this booming company in China. They'd go there and it'd be an empty warehouse. So that's what would cause me not to go all in or nothing on this stock, because it's based in China. But I do see a lot of potential. So Taiwan Semiconductor is another one, but we already added that to our portfolio. So there's another one out there it's called Yunnan Industrial. It rose 30% over the last 5 days. And the reason why it rose is because China's Commerce Ministry announced an export restriction on germanium and gallium, which these are 2 rare earth minerals that you need to create chips. They're essential in chip manufacturing. So this company is actually making a lot of money based on China's internal need for AI in their own city. Right now we're getting to the point, because of these chip wars, is that the U.S. actually was either contemplating or actually created a law, I'm not sure about it, that they were going to stop exporting chips to China. So China has to come up with their own solution in-house. They can't buy NVIDIA chips. They can't buy Intel. They can't buy AMD because those are American companies. So China has to come up with their own internal chip, either design or manufacturing. So that's why I think that it's called, the stock symbol is CNY. I think that this company would be a good risk versus reward play. Right now it's trading at it's trading at 1686. And I think, like I said, it's a risk. I wouldn't go all in because of China. I wouldn't go all in because of China's history with manipulating stock prices. But I do see potential here. So with that being said, we're going to end Strategy Sunday. I hope you guys have a great night. I'll give you guys 2 minutes to ask any questions you want, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. If you're in YouTube, I need you guys to like the content, subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you're on Instagram, I need you guys to sign up for the CNC. DM me the word CNC and I'll send you a link right after, or you can click the link in the bio, sign up right now. I appreciate you, Brian Baker. I appreciate you, Stefan King. Can you help me? That's my only question. I don't know what that means. Yeah, Meta's probably going to go up this week, more than likely. After they get the numbers from Threads over the weekend, the stock price will react probably positively to that. Hey, can Ethereum and Bitcoin and XRP be in one ETF? It could be, but I don't know what what they're adding to this ETF. An ETF can have anything in there, right? But I don't know what this particular ETF has. Okay, so it's a spot ETF. Okay, I got you. I got you, Scooby on. I appreciate that. Somebody says, my friend got mad because she wants to get into stocks, and I told her she should know what NVIDIA is and not focus on the lives of famous people. Exactly. People spend their entire lives focused on what Jay-Z's or Beyonce going to do next. So I got people I follow, but man, they go too far with that, man. Like Beyonce's daughter was like dancing on the stage or some people was like criticizing the daughter and how she dances. What does it matter? That's what's so weird to me, man. It's so weird. All right, one more minute. I'm going to let you guys go for the night. All right, I hope you guys have a great night. Thanks for joining.